Hello everyone, and welcome to Canada First. On the agenda for this evening is climate change, or as some people like to refer to it, global warming. Now, I know what you're thinking. What is global warming? Well, in a day and age where fake news and corporate media try to impose their views on you, it's hard to go by the facts. But here at Canada First, that's exactly what we want to do, bring you the facts. So if that interests you, hit that subscribe button. Here we have a video of Randall Carlson on the Joe Rogan podcast. Now, Randall may look like he makes moonshine in the swamps of Louisiana, but he's actually a researcher that works very closely with data from the Greenland Crater. Some of you may not remember what a crater is, so here's a quick refresher.
The Hiawatha Crater is one of the 25 largest known impact craters on Earth, and the first found under any of our planet's ice sheets. Crucially, the Hiawatha impact crater still looks like an impact crater, even though it's covered by ice and seems to be rapidly eroding. The data as a whole suggests that the crater is quite young, geologically speaking. But we don't yet know exactly when an asteroid sped toward Earth, through the atmosphere, and into the planet's crust in northwest Greenland.
Now that we're all caught up, back to the video of Randall.
Right there's 1,000 years. You go down, there's 2,000. Down at the bottom, you see 10. So that's 10,000 years ago. Now, basically, what the oxygen isotopes do, they're a proxy for temperature change adjacent to the ice mass, right? And if you look at this, these are snapshots basically taken like every 10 years, right? And what you see here is that the temperature is oscillating back and forth, back and forth. It's 2 to 4 degrees centigrade. Now, to put this into context, the concern, we got into this somewhat last time, the whole issue of global warming. So we're talking about a degree that has changed basically in the last century to a century and a half, right? Which really almost wouldn't even show up here, you see. But we're going down. As we go down, we'll see, as you go to the right, that means temperature's warming. As you go to the left, it means it's cooling. I'm going to go to the next slide where we take this graph and we turn it on its side. And what I've done here is, you see, this is the present right here. And this is basically 10,000 years ago over here on the right side. So in the last 10,000 years, we went from a period of considerable warmth in the immediate post-glacial era, and then it began to cool off around 6,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. And as it began to cool off, the temperature oscillations began to increase in magnitude, okay, which actually contradicts the computer models that are saying the amplitude of the oscillations is going to increase as the climate gets warmer. What we actually see from the Greenland ice cores is the opposite of that, and it's right here in this graph. But what's really significant about this is when we go back beyond 10,000 years ago.
Whoa.
And we see this.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
For folks who are listening, there's a giant change. I mean, we're looking at little tiny, maybe millimeter left, right, left, right, up until this point. Now we're looking at huge changes.
Huge changes. Wow. Catastrophic changes.
So, after seeing that video, we'll go back to our main topic, data. How do you read it? For instance, take this graph. In one portion, it looks like CO2 levels rising are affecting the temperature. But if you were to zoom out and look at a different portion of the graph, you would see areas where temperature was rising, but CO2 levels remained stagnant. So, before humans had any sort of ecological footprint, before the Industrial Revolution, before all of that, temperatures still fluctuated. So what does this mean? Well, let me tell you. Myth number 1. Humans cause climate change. Myth number 2, CO2 levels cause climate change. And myth number 3, we have a say in climate change. Now, I'm not saying to be a climate change denier. What I am saying, though, is not to be an alarmist either. Let's reserve our natural resources and not be wasteful of energy, but let's not cut off our main economic lifeline as well. So how are we going to put Canada first? Being on the topic of climate change, maybe we start by pulling out of the Paris Agreement. Maybe we quit funding these foreign NGO groups for paying for their luxury hotels and $1,000 dinner tabs and keep that money in Canada. My name's Konstantinos Christoforidis, and this is Canada First.